Lights, camera, action. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. I'm Laura Thompson with TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach, and you're tuned into the coffee break. And I was just sitting here minding my own business, and I peeked in the green room and saw this young man sitting there, and I was like, I wonder who he is. So I'm going to allow him to introduce himself before we do the interview and tell us who you are, what you do, why you do it, all of that good stuff.
All right. Yeah, my name is Mashaun Hirschler. Right now, I am the founder and CEO of Thuggin' for Christ Ministries. And so Thuggin' is an acronym that stands for The Honest Understanding God Gives Is Now. And we have a local shelter right now for young men ages 18 to 24 over on the southeast side, where we do a lot of emotional intelligence, cognitive behavioral training, professional development. Myself, mom kicked me out at 9, 13 went to foster care, 17 I was already on my way to prison. Came back to San Antonio as an adult and lived in Haven for Hope for about 10 months and moved out in 2020. In 2023, we opened up our shelter.
Wow, and so you moved pretty quick.
Yeah.
So that's
Yes,
pretty
ma'am.
phenomenal. So you talked about your mom kicked you out at 9. So what happened after that? How did you manage to make it through that part?
Growing up in poverty, you only have a few options, and you really only have one option, which is you go into the street life. Unfortunately, my mom was a part of the crack epidemic, so she was using at the time. And today, me and my mom have a wonderful relationship.
That's awesome.
She's clean and sober. At the time, though, she was in the middle of her addiction. And when I say she kicked me out, it was more of us staying at a trap house, and I wasn't welcome there no more because I was fighting. And surviving, I just went into the streets and was recruited by the street life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so drug addiction, we look at it as a bad thing, and it is not healthy. But it happens, and it can happen to anybody. You grow up, you're young, and you get into those situations, and you think it's cool.
Yeah.
And you think it won't happen to you. You think I'm not gonna. It's not gonna get me, but sometimes it does. And so and it really kind of dismantles your family situation.
Facts.
And so but the good thing is that people have an opportunity to have a second chance, and it sounds like your mom
Yes.
had a second chance, and you were able to
Definitely.
reunite. So how does that feel, and when did that happen?
It actually happened. She got clean and sober about roughly about 17 years ago.
Awesome.
I was still in the streets, and unfortunately, I was selling drugs and gangbanging, and just a part of the whole statistic. That was the narrative. I was the person that you didn't want your kids to be around.
Right.
And she called me one time. She was in New York, and she said, "Baby, mama's sober." And it warmed my heart. Yeah, at the same time, I was already so deep into the lifestyle that I was living. It didn't make a difference at that moment. And my father, I didn't know my father my whole life. And so when I was about 22 was when my foster mom found my father.
Wow.
And so I was able to put the narrative together and the story. And so during that same time, my mom got clean, and then we found my father, and he came back into my life. And then I ended up going to prison for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you made it.
I
made
did.
it out.
I did.
And you're helping others. So at what point did you feel that it was necessary to, reach down and help some of the other brothers up?
My whole life I've always had a desire to help people. And despite my family upbringing, so I am mixed, black and white, and the white side of my family were very racist. Growing up, they kicked my mom out, and they denied me. And so there's always been that family dynamic that I've desired the most. And even growing up in foster care, I just wanted to just help people not go through the pain that I went through. And growing up in that lifestyle, you carry a lot of weight, you carry a lot of pain, especially from the lack of family environments. And in 2019, we was here in Haven for Hope, and that was the lowest point of my life. And I cried maybe for about 3 months. I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. From 5 to 5:30, I cried. 5:30, I took a shower. 6 o'clock, I woke my wife and my son up to get them ready for the day. But every time I was crying, I wasn't just crying out of sadness or poor me. It was me crying out to the Lord and just asking God, like, man, just save me and help me. And Christ spoke to me. He said 3 words. He said, I was there. And he showed me every moment in my life where I felt abandoned, every moment where I felt the loneliest, even the moments where I tried to commit suicide. I have a scar on my arm where I tried to take my life. And God revealed all those things to me. And at that moment was the moment that I said, okay, now I see. And I want to give to people what he gave to me. And in Haven for Hope in 2019, it was around November-ish, where I made a dedication that I was going to go back into the same streets, go back into those places that I once I was raising havoc, and to bring people out and to show them that they don't have to carry that pain for the rest of their life, that they can have some sort of resemblance of a normal life, whether you grew up with a family or not. I'm the first generation in my family to be there for my son. I'm about to have a grandbaby. He's going to college. And, you know, my other kids, they're in my life. I'm actively in their life. And I'm changing the narrative, starting with me. And I'm taking these young men in, and I'm helping them understand that even though you didn't have that growing up, doesn't mean that you can't be the change in your family, in your bloodline.
Everybody's normal is not the same.
Facts. Facts. Yes.
So, but you said something when you were in Haven for Hope. You said you cried every day, and it was the lowest point in your life. But it made me think that you just started facing it, and so it felt hard.
Yeah.
So, you know, before it was like, you know, you were just doing what you were doing, and you weren't really thinking about self necessarily the way you were when you were at Haven for Hope. You had an opportunity to stop and reset, and it was like, wow.
Can actually drown out the noise and hear the still calm voice, right? And during that time, it was a moment, because also during that part of that story was me and my wife was actually detoxing from methamphetamines at the time. And we didn't go through regular treatment. We didn't go through the 12 steps. It was just me, my wife, and my son. And me and her were detoxing, and my son just got in my life. I hadn't seen him in 8 years. Wow. And he was 12, and he came into my life. And his mom said, hey, either you take him or he goes into the system. Oh. And even though me and my wife was in the middle of detoxing in Austin, I just said, yes, that's my son. It's my responsibility. So I'm going to take him despite everything else. And that's how we ended up here in San Antonio. And he was dealing with mental health and anger and stuff. So I had to deal with that, and then deal with my wife, and then deal with my childhood traumas that happened here in San Antonio, where everything that happened during my childhood was here in San Antonio streets. And so it was just dealing with everything and understanding that I didn't have the power, and that I needed to see things from a different perspective in order for the narrative to change, because now my son was heading down the same exact path I was on. And in order to stop the path, I had to make the ultimate change.
Wow. So that experience and knowledge is very helpful, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So let's move to thugging.
Okay.
You know, so thugging for Christ. So when I got the call, it said, can you interview Mashaun? And I'm like, what does Mashaun do? And he said he has an organization called Thugging for Christ. So immediately when you hear the word thugging, you know, you think a certain way, but I said it's got for Christ on it, so yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so tell me, what does thuggin mean? Is it an acronym or?
Yeah, so Thuggin is an acronym that stands for The Honest Understanding God Gives Is Now. And we have a motto that says, when is now? In the middle of your addiction, affliction, as you sit and reminisce on your past pains and abuses. A thug for Christ is someone willing to mend the broken while guiding the lost, despite your circumstances, situation, and showing the unconditional love.
Wow, so he's got it down.
Yes,
Man.
yes.
So what's the mission of Thugging for Christ?
The ultimate mission is to show love, right? That is the purpose of what we do. Yet right now, we currently have a youth shelter for young men, and we teach them cognitive skills. We teach them professional development skills. We even started a landscaping business so that way they can learn how to operate, run a business from the front end to the back end. We want to help them build their resume out. Right, and we want to help them get trained, and the whole purpose is to bring the man back into the family, bring the fathers back home, and the best way to do that is to train up young men how to be a father. How do you stand the storm when life hits?
Wow, and so society puts a stigma on people that have trouble or trauma in their lives. And so you're kind of approaching that head on because what the end result can be if you don't get that help. So with the foster care system, is that where you get your young man?
So we get them from the foster care system, aged out foster youth. We get them from the county jail. They'll call us and say that, hey, we have a young man that is in your age range that is a first-time offender, but they need a place to go. They don't have a secure address.
Wow.
And we will also just get them from random family members who will find us on the website. But majority of our young men, yes, are aged out foster youth.
Wow. So I just think that's so disappointing to me for them not, as long as foster care has been in existence, that, they just age them out and put them out.
Yeah.
And put them out on the streets instead of having a bridge like yours that they can cross to, make sure that they can make it. Because a lot of people, just because you're in foster care or have problems, it doesn't mean that, you're not trainable and that people don't want to be successful. They want to be helped.
Yeah.
And so you're like a safety net for
Trying
them.
to be.
Yeah, you are.
Yes.
You are. I saw you on WAI and the pictures that they showed of some of the things that you do to support these young men. And is it just for young men?
Yes.
Yes. You support the young men. It's phenomenal, and it's like tear-jerking just to kind of see that somebody would dedicate, their life to helping people in this manner. And so what is your why?
The why is me. I've never had nobody stand up for me. I didn't have nobody to save me in a way. When I went to jail or went to county, there was nobody there to bond me out. I sat in prison. I did about 10 years in total throughout all the times that I went in. And I didn't have commissary. I didn't have mail. I didn't have visits. And so it was a very lonely road. And so my why is I want to be able to make sure that nobody else has to go through that. Because it can break the best of men to be that lonely. And to be able to see these young men transition from a lack of trust, a lack of support, or a lack of belief in themselves mainly, to seeing them start trusting people and start dreaming again, it brings me satisfaction, and a part of myself gets healed every time. Wow. Every time one of the young men gets saved or they move on or transition to another phase in their life. And even if they leave us and they go off on their own and they come back months later or a year later and they're like, hey, Mashaun, this is what I'm doing, right? Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for fighting with me, right? Thank you for this. It's healing for me to be a part of their life. And I tell them all the time, man, thank you for allowing me to have a moment in your life.
Wow. So what was your turning point you went through all of this. You went through Haven for Hope. You did your crying. So what in you said, okay, it's time to get up and do something about this?
I mean, the turning point was actually when I was incarcerated. I went in 22 at 22,
Wow.
and this was the last time I went in, and I couldn't read or write that well. I was still illiterate in a lot of ways. The school systems put me through the workforce, and so I didn't get properly trained on how to read and write.
Right.
And so when I went to prison the last time, I taught myself how to read and write, and put myself through college while I was in there.
Wow.
And I went to the graduation stage, and the lady handed me the pamphlet with everybody's names on it, and I saw a little asterisk on the side of my name, and I'm like, man, what is this? What does this mean?
Right.
And she looked at it. She goes, oh, it means that you graduated with honors. And
Wow.
I said,
Wow.
what does that mean? Right?
Right.
Because obviously,
Why
I'm
is
not
that
educated.
important?
Yeah, what does that mean? And they're like, oh, that means that you had one of the highest scores in your class, 3.0 GPA, and at 3.5. And I said, no, that can't be right. I've been told I was stupid my whole life. I've been told I was slow my whole life. That can't be right. And she went back, she checked it, she came back, she said, no, Mr. Hirschler, you're graduating with honors. You have a 3.5 GPA. And I walked across the stage. They had it like a regular ceremony, even though it was in prison. It felt real good. They dressed us up in suits and stuff. And they handed me the diploma. And at that moment, I realized that everything that I knew up until that point was a false reality. Mm-hmm. And that by gaining this education, it opened up a new world for me to explore and to embark upon. And from that day forward, across that stage, was the day that I decided that my life and my kids' life was going to change.
Wow, and that's a deadly combination because you learn how to survive first on your own. You taught yourself how to read and write on your own. And then you passed the test.
Yes.
You got your degree. So what is your degree in?
It was in computer maintenance technology.
Really?
And
Okay.
so I have an associate's degree right now in computer maintenance technology. And I taught myself computer coding, so I know a little bit of coding. I don't do it no more, but I did know coding while I was in there. And so now I'm kind of like the ghetto nerd, right? So I'm the tech guy in all the places that I've ever worked and in my own house.
Right. Well, somebody had to create it, and it was somebody probably just like you that was just playing around and figured stuff out. So it's the education part of it is the formal education is great.
Yeah.
But those gifts and talents are inside of all of us.
Facts.
And so you can do what you can do because of the gift of God.
Yeah.
And so how can people get in touch with you to either learn more about thugging or to get involved with thugging?
So the best place is our website, which is www.thugginforchrist.com. THUGGIN, FOR, not the number 4, but FOR Christ. And if they go there, it has even volunteer page. It has resources. It has more information about exactly what we do.
Okay, so what are some of the qualifications for people to volunteer to work with you?
There isn't really a lot of strict qualifications. The one thing that we do want is compassion, for one thing. And then lived experience, right? We want to show our guys that despite where you come from, you can still be successful, right? And so lived experience is one of the big things. I mean, my case manager, she did 25 years in prison.
Wow.
And she got out, and now she is an advocate in the city. She is very impactful in everything that she does. But one thing that I know is that because of her story and her testimony, it helps with the guys to teach them, like, hey, it doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, you can still become a success, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was a freshman in college, and I forgot the class. I think it was economics, but he was saying if a kid from the east side went to Alamo Heights, in the Alamo Heights Independent School District, and the kid from Alamo Heights Independent School District went to SAISD on the east side, who would survive. And so I said, well, shoot, the kid from the east side.
Facts.
And he was like, well, how could that be? And I said, are we talking about intelligence, or are we talking about education, or economics, or are we talking about intelligence? Because they're two different things.
Yeah.
Because just because someone is economically stable doesn't mean that they're intellectually stable, and it doesn't mean that they can survive in all conditions. So I salute you for what you are doing and what you have done, what you've gone through, and you're going to continue to soar. I can just see it. And so I said, this dude here, I saw him on WOAI. I said, this dude here, you're phenomenal.
Appreciate you.
And so thanks for coming, hanging out with us
Yes,
for a
ma'am.
little bit on the coffee break. Sorry, all the coffee was gone when you got here,
It's
but
fine.
but we'll
Yes,
be
ma'am.
talking to you some more. And good luck on everything that you do. And y'all look out for Thugging for Christ, because they're coming in hot.
Yes, yes.
And you've been tuned into the Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
All
Yes,
righty.
ma'am.